Alrighty, guys. Welcome back to another episode of Sunday Studies with me, Trudell Lambert. I know it's not technically Sunday, but hey, the weekend happens sometimes. So we're getting a Sunday study on Monday because honestly, we have to study every single day. And I do. I just upload these on Sunday, just so you know. But, anyways, we're doing gesture drawings today, as you can see. Right now, I'm doing 1 minute poses, and I'm just trying to get the form, get the pose going as best as possible. Why I think this is very important to do is, well, if you're doing illustration as a whole, if it has figures in it, you're going to need to capture how a figure moves. But I think this is very important if you want to do storyboards or comics to make it the most dynamic and fluid and just nice looking as possible. I think that's a really important thing to master. So, if you like that type of stuff and you don't do gesture drawing, just get it done. What I use for this is because I know it's hard to get to a gesture drawing classes. I have been slacking on my gesture drawing because when I was in school, I used to do it in class all the time, and it made it so much easier. But instead, I found this YouTube channel. It is called New Masters Academy, and they have both nude and clothes figure drawings, and they're timed, and I'd say go check it out if you don't already. And it depends what you're more comfortable with. Figure drawing the nude form gets you a better feel of how the body works and moves, and you could see the muscle and just how the body is moving under the clothes, which is important because you could always throw clothes on top of a figure, which is also a skill, but I think that's easier than just drawing a figure in and of itself. But they also have clothed figures. They're not a sponsor. I just really appreciate that they have this large resource. And they have a ton of them. They have both male and female, and they have so many. Like, I think they have like 30 or 40 different references. So I'd say go check them out. I think it's really important. Um, as I'm doing this, I'm thinking I'm doing a 5 minute pose now. I finished the 2 minute poses. And I think I like the 2 minute poses the best, if I'm going to be honest with this whole thing. The 2 minute poses are just like a sweet spot sometimes with gesture drawing. With longer pose, I freak out and I'm like, I have to get it done. And then I don't know how to clean up the wild sketch I just did. Um, which, if I'm working on my comics, I'd just put it on a new layer and then build that second layer up to make sure that everything is nice and correct. But here, it's kind of too fast to do that. Now, okay, I finished the 10 minute poses. Now I'm on, or the 5 minute poses. Now I'm on the 10 minute pose. So this one's going to take a little longer, but you'll get a little more detail with it. And my thing is just practice. Keep on doing it. This isn't, in my opinion, the best I've ever done, but it's also not the worst. And it's also because I haven't done it in too long, consistently, anyways. Like there's a here and there, but there's definitely an art to figure drawing. And you'll see if you make comics or do storyboards or just draw figures and illustration in general, they'll definitely start to get better once you do this. And it's good to look look at a figure and see where the shadows fall and the light. It's more than just the body, right? Especially when you get to like a 10 minute pose. Now I'm just sorting out all the different poses I did, going through I think the 2 minute ones right now, and then I'm going through the 1 minute ones. I'm just making sure they're all there so I could just see them all and see what I've done. Or so you guys could see it, you know? So those, it's everything. And those are all the poses in general. All right, so now that I did a gesture drawing, now I'm doing a figure drawing where I'm going to do a more finished drawing. I'll take it up all the way to I think I ink it and I tone it. And honestly, spoiler alert for the end of the video, I don't love how I toned it, but I think the ink part looks nice. But again, this is practice, so it doesn't have to look beautiful. You just have to learn from it. I think that's the most important part of practice, and why some people don't do it sometimes is because sometimes your practice looks a little bit like trash. But if you learn from it and learn why it doesn't look as good as it should, then honestly, you're doing the right thing. So, and then eventually you'll get to the point where your practice just looks bomb AF, hella dope. But won't necessarily happen right away, and you'll be more experienced then, so you'll probably just be at a new tier. It'll look dope for what you think dope is now, but when you're there, it's going to be like, oh, well, I could have done XYZ better, and that's why you practice. We're just trying to get better, because practice makes perfect, am I right? Anyways, I like this pose she's doing. She looks almost like a JoJo character. Where she's she's doing this strange pose with her hand behind her back, and her fingers are like doing a thing. They're kind of interlocked, but also not really. And I didn't like color it. I only put tone, but her lips were blue, and I think she had blue eyeshadow as well. It looked really nice. Just how it all worked definitely looked like a JoJo character, some type of anime-esque vibe to it, which was cool. Even the push and pull of the baggy clothes and the tight clothes at the same time, I thought that was cool. Or even like a comic character. You know, like when you have your characters outside of their outfit and they still kind of look like a superhero, but also not really. But so that's the end of my sketch phase. I'm about to get into inking now. So this is the underdrawing, or whatever you want to call it. The sketch. And now I'm just inking it, which is obviously a longer process than the pencil drawing. But it's good. And if I do a good underdrawing, like this underdrawing's okay, but I've done better ones in the past, and the inking becomes very meditative because everything, all the guidelines are kind of already there, so you don't have to invent as much as you did. And especially because I'm using a reference to do this, I don't have to think as hard because everything's right there. If I'm like designing a new character, for example, everything's not there. I'm going to have to think critically about everything. Even though I do like that process better, it's less meditative, I guess. It's less calming. Practice can get very calming when you get used to doing it. But don't forget, you gotta learn still. And you gotta have fun, because why the heck are we drawing if we're not having fun? You know what I mean? Especially when it's stuff like this. Like I've said before, I like to go on Pinterest mainly to find my stuff. Like to find my figure or my portraits or whatever I feel like drawing that day. And yeah, I'll pick, like, honestly, I have so many. I can't even, yeah, maybe like 35 pictures up that I'm going to be ready to, that I'm going to draw eventually. I'm going to practice from eventually, just because they're either wearing like an awesome costume, or the lighting's good, or it's just a pretty person in general. It's whatever I find looking cool and attractive. There's some like weird like Afro punk type costumes in in this in some of the tabs that I have up. So it is really interesting to just kind of go in and delve deep. And then they have pictures under the pictures, so I'll go in and I'll delve deep in there. And then it'll just be like a big I don't know, hunt for dope pictures. Not sure what to say. But yeah. So still inking slowly, making sure the forms make sense, making sure there's at least a little bit a sense of depth and form, so it doesn't look completely flat. Even though the style I do is kind of flat, I still got to make things look um, like how they actually would. And right now I'm doing the hands, and I am having a little trouble with it, but also I think I got it. They're not the worst hands in the world, but they're also covered in shadow in the picture. So I think eventually when I go do my shadow, I'm gonna cover um a lot of it. Doing the pants. These pants were ripped, and I have trouble with ripped pants. Like both in drawing and in real life, because I don't understand ripped pants. What's up with ripped pants? I have no clue. But they baffle me. I feel like we're not supposed to have rips in our clothing. But also Kanye did that and everyone made billions of dollars off of it. So like, hey, get in where you fit in, you know. If you have ripped pants and you're like, hey, I might as well sell ripped shirts too. Get it. Which I don't think is a trend anymore. I see that a lot less recently. I know this is a weird tangent about ripped clothing, and I don't know how I got on this, but it's it. Okay, so all right, back on topic. Right now, I'm using the selection tool to select where I'll have all the darker areas, all the areas where that are in like I guess heavier shadow. I'm picking right now. So in recording, it's a little harder to see and a little less interesting than if I just went in there, but I find this method way easier to just use the selection tool. It's way more efficient to just use the selection tool than draw it in, because then it could get messy. Selection tools, I don't know, it's just easier for me. Unless I'm painting. If I'm doing like digital painting, I'll I'll use the brush the whole time. But if I'm doing a more comic booky style, like this, then I'll definitely just use the selection tool. And then soon enough, I'm gonna come in with my screen tone brush, and I think I do like a 70% screen tone soon, right after this hair. I'm pretty sure. There we go. Okay, I filled it in with black first, just to make sure it looked decent. And now it's all in the 70% tone. Now I go and I see what I missed. What looks good. And if I were to do this again, I would change a little bit. Her brow is actually in shadow, but I wouldn't have done that. Just because I think it looks better when you don't, personally. Especially when it comes to females. Having that dark shadow there makes them look more like a guy, I guess. And then if you do it extra for males, for example, it makes them look more like a Neanderthal, pretty much, right? Like a caveman type deal. which isn't bad if that's the character design you're going for. Of course, you gotta pull that. But if it's not, then it's just like, hey, don't do that next time, you know? So now I'm going in with the 30% tone. Whenever I finish it, this is a little more broad and it's a quicker process always than the deeper shadows. And then I think with that you get a little more depth. I missed a few spots, so I'm just going back. Oh, and now I'm doing tones for it. So I put the shadows in, and now I'm going to just, instead of doing color, just do broad tones. Which, honestly, there's no reason why I didn't do color. If I can do this, I can do color, because I usually keep my color flat if I'm going to do something like this. Sometimes I'll, like, I have to add more color just to make it look a little more interesting. But I don't necessarily have to. It really depends on the vibe I'm going for. But that's most of it. Just most of drawing in general, I think. So personally, I'm figuring out if I like the tone or not. And that's the finished figure drawing. And then that's the toned figure drawing. I'm not sure which I like best. You let me know what you like best. But I'm Trudell the Comic God, and I hope you all have a beautiful day. Let me know in the comments which one you like the best, if you like the toned or the just no color one better. Also, let me know if you like the gesture drawing, because I love doing the gesture drawing, but I'm not sure how interesting it is to see it get done. So if you do like me doing that, let me know in the comments below. And again, if you want me to do anything interesting, or like study anything you think would be interesting, let me know that too, because if you want to see how one might go about studying a car or something of the sorts, or perspective or anything like that, I'd love to do a demo, and I should be practicing that stuff more anyways, so this would be a good way to make me do it. So yeah, that's it for today. I am Trudell the Comic God, and I hope you all have a beautiful day. Also, follow my Instagram, check the bio for that. I have a comic out. It's free to download, so you can do that too. Download my stuff for free. It's awesome. It's called Blood. It's set in a Egyptian mythology fantasy world. And it's about kings, and there's a magic system and demigods. It's cool. Check it out, huh? Check it out. Anyways, again, have a beautiful day, and peace. This has been Trudell the Comic God.